Hello, everybody. This is Grant from Brutally Delicious Podcast with another episode of our little mental health segment called Heavy Hearts. This episode, I'm delighted to bring some local lads onto the show, Stevie and Shaun from Get Heavy. Lads, it's absolutely wonderful to speak to you again. We've had a lot of really amazing discussions over the years. So I guess we'll start with you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and what's going on with Get Heavy.
Well, easy when it starts off when it comes to Get Heavy. It all started with myself back in 2021. So, as Grant just said, I am Stevie, and this all started August in 2021 when myself, few friends were just doing watch along videos on Twitch. I've always wanted to do something with music related because I've always wanted to give back to a community that's given me something on a whole at the end of the day. It supported me emotionally, mentally, took us, carried us through so many bad times, so many good times. It's my first love. It still is my love. Do you know what I mean? It's there for us since the minute I discovered it. It's been there as an emotional support. So I can't thank the community as a whole, the bands, the people, anyone that's a part in the music scene, especially heavy metal. Can't thank them enough. So that's why I started the whole. It just started under the name of Beardbo Baggins on Twitch, doing watch-alongs on YouTube, and it kind of grew from there. Did that for about a year, and then I met the chap right next to me here, Sean Payne, who was in a band at the time known as Cass and Tefra. Um, and immediately I appeared. I attended the Metal to the Masses final, which was when I first discovered Cass and Tefra. Attended. Knew right away after I saw Cass and Tefra play live that they would be the boys to win, and they would go and represent the tune at Metal to the Masses and Bloodstock. And from there, he's just been one of in such a small space of time. He's become one of my best friends. He's like a brother, little mini brother. He shares my passion, shares my dream, and from there we created Get Heavy. And we continued the watch along videos, but it's expanded to what we are now. Started going into a podcast, into the interviewing bands, similar like yourself, Grant. Um, and then Sean had the absolutely fantastic idea. Why do you not do a festival? And that's what we did. Just put on a festival, call it Get Heavy Festival, keep it along with the name of the brand, and the rest is history. 2023 was the first one, debut. We sold out, couldn't believe it, absolutely insane. Um, Cass and Tefra headlined. For those who don't know, on every Twitch stream we end with a song S Club 7, Reach for the Stars, just for the giggles. And Cass and Tefra, with literally no practice, just maybe half an hour in the rehearsal room at Downcast
Not even
Studios.
that.
No, not even that. But and they came out and put an absolute stellar performance, and everyone loved it. Everyone fucking loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. And that, yeah, we did it again last year, which Grant, you attended. Thank you very much. You gave an absolute stellar review. I appreciate that. Still remember you passed out at one point.
Your
Yes,
power
I
nap.
had come along to get heavy fast after working a 12-hour night shift, and I was like, no, I can power through, I can power through. If anybody reads the write-up on brutallydelicious.com, there is a reason why the review run jumped straight from the fourth band to the ninth band, because I went around the
Yeah.
corner after two months and went zonk and fell asleep for 4 hours. Um,
I
yeah, but
remember just
Aye.
peeking around the corner every now and then, being like, "Are you alive? Still
Is he
breathing?
still
Yeah,
alive?
bother."
I think the missus had to go and check on you, make sure you are alright. I
it was
just thought that was
brutal.
absolutely brilliant.
I think
Um,
that linked quite nicely though, because Get Heavy Fest, I was along there with my son, and
mhm.
his dad passed out due to exhaustion for a few hours round the corner, and the sense of community in the metal community meant that my son still had a good time with a few strangers, a few people that he met through association, a few mutual friends. So I reckon a good vaulting point here, from the positivity that we saw at Get Heavy Fest, into our main topic, mental health and heavy music. Now, I embrace the chaos a little bit with this. I like Heavy Hearts to be a platform for whoever I'm talking to. So I will let you guys take the reins. Mental health and heavy music, what does it mean to you, lads?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for doing it because just like yourself, we at Get Heavy are very strong supporters of mental health. It I feel it doesn't get talked enough, especially in men, because men feel like there's a bit of a stigma to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, we need to get rid of that stigma and we need to be more open with each other, basically. Um, like I touched on before when we started this journey with Get Heavy UK, I wanted to give something back to a community that's given me support mentally, emotionally. Um, it's, it's hard to put into words at times. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, music for me as a whole, it's just means so much to us because being bullied through school, that puts a mental stress on you. Um, there's times when you wanna lash out, um, but I can't because I don't want to. You know what I mean? It's not right to lash out. It's not right to use your fist just because you're being physically tormented, but in your head because you're being physically tormented, you're being emotionally tormented because you're fighting that battle in your brain. Do you know what I mean? So to come home to stuff like when I discovered Slipknot, for example, the song Left Behind, straight away, that song resonated with me straight away because I felt like I was left behind at times, um, until I found my people, which was the metal community. That song, sorry, I can feel myself getting a little bit of emotional talent with it now, to be fair, going back to the old days. But aye, man, it's hard, but I want people to be open about it. Um, what about yourself, Sean? Because like I say, I don't get myself a bit.
Me and Grant talked a little bit earlier about like similar sort of things, which is why I thought I'd just let you lead the start of this one. But
Mm,
couldn't agree more with you, mate. Like similar background for me. Like going through school and stuff, it was like very much like it was only me at first when I was at an age where like I didn't have many friends similar to my age, and there was only a couple of us, and we all got bullied and picked on and things like that. And I was saying to Grant, like music's always been that like go-to for me. I've had like constantly there's pictures of us as a kid playing with like toy guitars and that. Like my mom says it's something I've always wanted to do. And going through like started finding my community at like probably 11, 12 year old or something. Like I met Calvin. Calvin's a couple of years younger than me, joins like the comp, and like it ended up being like a little group of us who all just kind of stuck together to get like to pull through, and it was all because we were the little outcasts. So, and it comes from there, didn't it? But
I say I was because I was kind of stuck in the middle because I had two set of groups of friends because I had the rockers and the metalheads. You had like that type of group, but also I was a big football fan as well. So I had like the sporty type, the that were, some people might have considered chavs, but they weren't really chavs. They were good. They were really good friends. I used to play football with them all the week, so every day virtually. So I felt because I was the only metalhead, I felt like a bit of an outcast with them. And when I saw hang on with the metalheads, they were so it was kind of I was in the middle. Does that make sense?
like,
Yeah.
So I kind of there was like a bit of a it was kind
I
of
think
like
what
that.
you
So
said,
the metalhead friends were like, "What? Why are you associating with them?" And then they're like, "It's not all of them. Some of them were like, why are you associating with them?" Do you know what I mean? It's like, mate, I'm of both worlds. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, man. I think what you've said there is like a perfect euphemism for the metalhead community. You know, you guys have been very open and honest about your past there, and it very much mimics what I went through as well. You know, I was an outcast. I was the only metalhead in the village because I grew up in the middle of the damn sticks, man. You know, most of the people up there had more teeth and more fingers than teeth. You know what I mean? I was not well received as a metalhead. But I think the fact, you know, heavy music draws those that feel isolated. So then when we do eventually find our tribe within the metal community, it's almost like we're all reinforced by the same bad behaviors that we've been on the receiving end of, and it makes us more open to, put your arm around somebody and go, I'll listen to you, or what advice do you need, or anything like that. Do you think that's a fair assumption about metal and just kind of alternative culture as a whole?
100%, 100%, because you can go to any metal show and you can make a connection with. You might not know them personally. You might not have known them for years. Do you know what I mean you've probably literally just bumped into them at that show? It even happened last night with me and Sean quite a few times. We spoke to so many people who we didn't even know personally, but they would come up to you, say hello, put their arms around you, merry. Probably they've had a few drinks, but yeah, like I say, emotionally. Just they'll put your arm around you, and while the performance is going on, arm around everyone together, just enjoying that performance as well. Uh, so yeah, couldn't agree more with that assessment, mate.
Totally, man. If we can touch back on influences. I spoke to Sean a little bit about this, and the other ones are probably a bit more towards you, Stevie. You mentioned Left Behind by Slipknot. Is there anybody else out there, like, creatively, either for the music or for the writing, where you're like, yeah, that one really touches my heart, kind of thing. That gets me.
The two, Slipknot, Iowa, everything about that album resonates with me, but also the band that pretty much got me into the extreme side of music would have been Linkin Park. Hybrid Theory, just one album musically, and then when you hear the actual lyrics, do you know what I mean? Especially with songs like One Step Closer. Do you know what I mean? Because there is times in my own, you're listening to it, and I am that one. I'm on that edge where I do want to just literally snap, but I've got to kind of pull the reins back. Um, so those two, Iowa and Hybrid Theory, were massive for me growing up. I wouldn't be surprised if I burnt the CD out with how many times I played Iowa back in the day. Left Behind and included in definitely Left Behind. Um, and Gently, the song Gently as well. That was another big song. Those were my two.
But you, Sean, is
Yeah.
there any that did chuck in there as like the album that kind of defines?
So was that a question for Sean or for myself?
Yeah. Just for Sean, if there's any albums or artists he'd add on that.
To be honest, Linkin Park was similar for me. Like I told you earlier on, those like Bullet, Trivium, Lamb of God, like the Sacrament album from Lamb of God. There's a lot of songs on that that like really put my head in like a relatable sort of lyrics. Ashes of the Wake and things like that. Like you just I remember me and Calvin would blast that walking the streets just because we were like in our own little way trying to find our own space and trying to figure out what was going on around us and stuff because like for us a lot of the time growing up it was like even if you just walked past the wrong person it was like fight or flight situations for us because where we grew up it was naff for that sort of thing. But I remember, to be honest, it's like it's gonna sound really egotistical, but there's like early songs from like my first metal band was called Manquerda, and like there's lyrics of that I still the recordings are terrible, but every now and then I'll go back and give it a listen and like remember where I was at that time and what me and Calvin mainly wrote together for that time, like because we did a lot of the lyric and the thematical stuff for that band. It didn't even get very far. We played some good little gigs and stuff, but like it was the starting point. If you know what I mean, we were like, I think Calvin must have been 12, 13, and I must have been about 14, 15 when I first started out. Like when we were just sitting writing stuff, being like, we're gonna make a band one day for definite. And then funnily enough, like Calvin's in Mara's Massacre with me nowadays, so it's all come full circle.
You do love it when you look back on your creative journey, both positively and negatively. As a songwriter, you could look back at some of your early stuff and go, "Oh my God!" but then at the same time you can see the real roots in what you become as a musician. Also, like, the disparity and not disparity, but like differences in answers there. If I'll add my own one into this, because the album that really gets me in here gets slated in relation to the band's back catalogue, and that's Load by Metallica.
Oh, right.
There's
That
literally
is massive. Yeah, I mean, that's no
um,
disrespect, but yeah, it's not well known for. When you hear Metallica, a lot of people immediately go to the first three. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
I mean, as far as like
So
metal intensity is concerned, though, the early albums definitely, if you just want to go pure metal, but listening to songs like Bleeding Me and Until It Sleeps, and there's lines in Outlaw Torn, the final one on that, was it? And when I start Come Undone, Stitch Me Together, that reminds me of a very close friend of mine that was there at the right time to kind of grab the back of my shirt and just pull me away from the edge. And it's one that's hung with me ever since. That one and Low by Testament is another one where it's just like, yeah, there's bits of it that feel like it gets me in there, you know what I mean? Um,
but this is
I think,
the greatest thing though about music is that it's subjective. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
What one person's love is another person's dislike. Do you know what I mean? Or vice versa for that. Do you know what I mean? Because my favorite Metallica album will be Ride the Lightning, but like you've just said, you've got an emotional connection to Load, so there's the difference straight away. I'm not going to slate anybody for that because, like I say, it's absolutely subjective. I might question if you said Saint Anger, that might have been different. I might have definitely questioned your mental stability and probably would have been calling some sort of NHS helpline just to get you sort of like sectioned or something. But
mate, if you
yeah,
rang
man.
said help, you come through to me. So that is what
Yeah.
I did, Jordan. Right,
Well, you should be
oh, mate,
getting yourself
this is
sectioned if he said Saint
information.
Anger.
It's mad that
But
you said that. Like you found that set of lyrics that like grabbed the back of your shirt for like because "Walk with Me in Hell," the Lamb of God song is that's the one for me because it's like take hold of my hand for you are no longer alone. Walk with me in hell. It's like that was my version of that song that you've just went on about.
that is also
And
a song that gets me.
as much as it sounds cheesy, as much as it sounds cheesy as fuck, which is why we resonate with the song "Reach for the Stars" by S Club 7 because it opens with "When you're feeling blue, I'll be there for you," and we literally use that song to tell people to not be silent and to reach out to anybody. Doesn't matter who it is, could be friend, family member, whoever it is, just reach out to somebody.
I think it's important there as well. It's guilty pleasures. We should always embrace our guilty pleasures. When me and Sean were talking a little bit before about musical influences and that kind of thing, we both found common ground in the fact that we draw from a writing perspective from places outside of metal. So I guess, putting a little bit of our smiles out there again, maybe back to Stevie a little bit more. What is, aside from S Club 7, which no shame on S Club 7 whatsoever, there ain't no party like an S Club party. What is your go-to outside of metal that makes you, brings you up, makes you smile?
I have said this on numerous occasions with various people over the times. I'm a bit of a country fan. Never mind rocking some Willie Nelson and the Highwaymen. Some
Nice.
Blue Saraceno as well. If you dig just good all round, just for absolute talent on guitar, Blue Saraceno. I hope I'm saying his name correctly anyway. But he's just an absolute beast on guitar. And there's also the late 80s, early 90s, the gangster style rap. So like your NWA, Tupac, do you know what I mean? That sort of style. Uh, I don't know why. I just loved it. Can't explain why. Some of it was funny. I'm not gonna lie. Some of it you're like, oh bloody hell, that really? And then you hear No Vaseline by Ice Cube for the first time, and that song was just holy shit, really. So yeah, two massive, complete like opposite ends to the spectrum when it comes to music: country and rap music, which a lot of people don't really see me as, especially when they take one look at us though, like in the streets. Yeah, he doesn't listen to country music.
I get that, man. Hip hop led me into metal. Similarly with gangster rap, I was smiling there when you were talking about old school gangster rap because I was thinking, like, the days of just simple cocaine and shotguns. Gangster rap was an area that I absolutely loved. Ice-T, Ice Cube, NWA, as you said, Scarface, and people like that were people that I was listening to. And
Method
then
and
it was
Method, the Method and Redman. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, man. And it was kind of like Beastie Boys and that kind of stuff that came along, and I went, "Oh, that's the hip hop that I like with some cool guitars," and kind of went off in that direction a little bit. It's genre crossover, as when we were talking about on your episode about mosh pits. I love fuck genres. You know what I mean? Let's mangle things up. Let's all listen to whatever the hell we want. Let's put some mad hybrid Frank Zappa, hip hop, polka, death metal out there and just see what it does for the world. Make people smile.
I wanted to say like some goth country music, and then me and that man came out by Nurgle from Behemoth. I say get in. Either he's got me hacked or he's just sharing brainwaves. But yeah, that's what I wanted to hear, and he did it. Or see where else he can take it. Do you know what I mean? Just go proper freaky, and just how obscure can you take it with the crossovers? Because it works. Look at Electric Callboy. They blended essentially techno and electric music into the metal, and look what's done for them. I know it's been about for a while, but still, look where they've put it. They've put it on the map, made it their own.
Experimentation is expression.
Hmm? That's it. You never know what you can come up with.
Absolutely. Um, I think we'll probably wrap things up there a little bit. We're hitting about 20 minutes, and as opposed to diving into another topic, I think we keep it nice and simple. So I'm going to end this the same way that I always end it. There's always like a question or statement that I put out there. The people that are listening to this, hopefully they're mental health advocates, but if there's anybody out there that's listening to this looking for help, what would you say to anybody that might be listening that's staring into darkness?
Reach out to anybody. Never, please. I can't specify this enough. To never be silent. If you know me in any way, whether you Instagram, Facebook, I'd rather get a ping at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then instead of reading that you've done something silly, that when I wake up in the following morning, do you know what I mean? So, never be silent. Reach out, please. To doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't have to be myself. If you don't feel comfortable talking to myself, but there will be somebody who you will just reach out to them. And someone will answer. I guarantee someone will answer you.
No,
Yourself,
well,
Sean, you got any messages?
Um, Same as what you've said and what I've said in when me and Grant were talking. Like, if anyone ever needs it, yeah. Like I says to Grant on my one when we did the Morris Massacre interview, it's like if someone can take that first step to reach out, I'll be the person to be like, "What do you need?" Like, and hopefully there's someone out there for everybody to be able to do that.
The first step's always the hardest. The first
Absolutely.
step's always the hardest. And but once
That's
you've
ex-
made it, once you've done it,
it's exactly what
you
I
when you
said.
yeah,
Yeah,
when you pass that first hurdle, that's it. When you've
Lovely.
passed that first hurdle, it gets easier.
I would echo it a little bit as well, just in relevance back to what I said about the album that's kind of, outlaw tone and what have you. The reason that that holds special place for me is because it's, a favorite of a friend of mine that texted me at just the right point back in the day. I was in a really, really, really fucking dark place, and oh, I was thinking about some bad stuff. Yeah, before the days of even Facebook, this was old school Nokia phones and what have you. And just sent a message to us and
Now
just
we're
said, "Mate,
talking.
hope
Old
you're
school
okay."
Nokia phones.
Yeah, man. And it was, you seem like you're not yourself. I've got a little something to cheer you up. And that person did not realize what that message meant. But they probably still don't. But me just getting that message at that right time could potentially have saved me. So, in relation to reaching out, don't just reach out if you're in darkness. Reach out if you think people are in darkness. Sometimes people just need to feel a little bit appreciated.
Mm.
Let them know that they matter.
Even if
Yeah.
they're just in general, just you might not have spoken to somebody for ages. Do you know what I mean? So like an old friend, you might just reach out to them. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know what they're going through, and you just simply asking them, "How's that day?" You could have just literally just changed their lives. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A beautiful place to end it.
Mm.
I think we'll wrap it up there, boys. This has been Grant from Brutally Delicious Podcast. Too much caffeine, not enough sleep. I'm slurring my words.
Well, before you do, if I could leave your beautiful, delicious podcast with our creed, which is the rules of the pit, or the rules for life. When someone falls, we pick them up.
I'll leave it at that one as opposed to my end line. Thank you very much, lads. Bye bye.